Thank you for tuning into the reading produced by Black Spectrum Network. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell button to get the latest updates on this channel. You can purchase a private psychic reading by going to www.blackspectrumnetwork.com. If you want spiritual guidance to learn how to work with your ancestors or you're interested in deepening your spiritual experiences, subscribe to our Patreon. You can get these and other videos at least 1 week ahead of their YouTube release date. That's patreon.com/Black Spectrum Network. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the personality cards about the rapper Safaree. The first card that I get for the rapper Safaree is the card for the servant, which speaks about him delighting in serving others with a free and loving heart. Specifically, it's speaking about him being someone that is hypercritical, very analytical, and he keeps a lot of his critiques to himself. He serves other people to make them like him. So he does have some insecurities about himself because he fears that the critiques that he makes of other people, people are making those same critiques of him. He's also someone that has a lot of talent, but he stagnated himself in life by just serving other people's interests rather than his own. The next card that I get is the card for the networker. So Safaree is someone that is very social, has socialite energy. If he weren't to work in the music industry, I get that he would, host parties and, promote club events. He very much enjoys conversing with other people, and especially through like social media and text messages, those being his main forms of communication. I also see that he spends a lot of time on his phone. He's interested in the World Wide Web, being connected to other people through the internet. He's very empathetic as well, and that contributes to his need for servitude because he wants other people to like him, and he has a natural desire to serve other people. With him being the networker, he can connect people. With him being a networker, he connects unimportant people to important people. I'm also saying that unimportant people typically like to flock towards him for those purposes, and he is usually used as a conduit to meet important people. So again, he serves, both segments, both of those segments of society, the people that work socially meaningful positions and people that don't work socially meaningful positions. I'm getting the card for the hermit, but this isn't talking about him spending a life of solitude and spending a lot of time at home. Much rather, this talks about he needs to be in solitude to inspire creativity from within. I'm also saying that he has very vivid dreams that are almost like movies. He's someone that when he receives too much attention, he gets really shy, and he gets shy because he feels that other people may be judging him negatively, and he is easily flattered. But he's also someone that has a lot of self-doubt as well. So the arithmetic of these three cards are pretty much to say that he makes a great friend and a great best friend. He's very loyal to you. He's an asset to any team that would want to, add him to it. And he's someone that will, make a job out of not having a job, especially when it comes to just, being connected to larger society. Here's the card for the athlete. It's not talking about him being athletic at all, but rather it speaks about him transcending his physical limits, okay? Not his not the limits of his physical strength, but it takes him a lot of energy to be outgoing because he's a naturally shy person and he tries to work against it. He's very dedicated to it. He feels like the things that go on in his head handicap him, but he's also someone that has a lot of personal willpower. So you can't back him into a corner. You can tell him that he's lame, and he'll take ownership of that title and try to charm you with his social awkwardness. He is also someone, and the athlete card is speaking about his sexual prowess, rather, that in the bedroom he's athletic, someone that is flexible, and he likes women that are physically flexible and have a lot of dexterity. It's also speaking about him being someone that doesn't feel as though he's entitled to the women that he sleeps with. So if he does have sex with you, whether even if you flatter him and tell him that you've wanted to do this all your life, he's still going to do his best to impress you because he's afraid that you may not really mean what you're saying. Okay, we get the card for the slave. So again, when we talk about servitude and him serving the needs of other people, this card is implying that he has a complete trust in divine authority. I get that he believes in a God. I don't see him practicing any sort of organized religion. I don't see him praying, meditating, doing spiritual work. But I do see that he has a very strong belief in God, and he listens to his highest self. So if he wants to do it, he's going to follow through with it. And the times that he has experienced great misfortune was because he didn't listen to the higher power from within. He also fears making important choices because he's afraid of what other people are going to say or do to him. Nevertheless, with the athlete card, he overcomes the predictive judgments that come to him through his intuition or through his intellectual observations. And he uses his willpower to please authority figures. So he'll either serve them or he will serve himself. And his highest self is always telling him to give, give, give. And like the Saint Francis prayer, give in order to receive. Okay, so the card of the trickster. The card of the trickster is coming out speaking about him being able to transcend convention and stuffiness. So he's a natural jokester. He thinks outside of the box. He's very playful. And he can pretend to be aloof or pretend to be ignorant, especially scholarly ignorant and culturally ignorant. But he's doing that because he wants to avoid people trying to launch serious criticisms at who he is. He really wants to be well liked. He wants to be seen as easygoing, and he wants to make people laugh because he has a very childlike spirit about himself. And he hasn't been told. He feels that I'm getting that he's been the main support system for not just in his relationships but also in his family. So he feels like he can't say no to people, and when he comes around new people, he feels like he has a people please. So that's one thing that is predictable about him, is that he is, he's someone that serves the interests of others. Nevertheless, he remains unpredictable in how he interacts with you, the things that he says to you, or the things that he may remember or choose to joke about, because his main goal is to provide you with a good experience, make you laugh, and ensure that you're, enjoying him. The final card that I get is the card for the alchemist, which speaks about him being able to transform water into wine. So he can, this is speaking about his artistic abilities, his linguistic abilities. He isn't a musician, but he's someone that's a natural producer. I could see him being an A&R at his highest level using his gift. And he he tries not to misuse his power and take advantage of women because he's seen other women close to him get taken advantage of by men, and he doesn't want to re-perpetuate that. And so he tries to approach women with this, I want to serve you. I really like you. I'm really interested in you. You're fascinating me more than I fascinate you. He's also someone that has acquired a lot of knowledge about how to deal with people from seeing women deal with children. So he has a nurturing side to himself that he's tried to grow through mimicking what he's seen other women do. Okay. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to bring out my spirit board, and we're going to use my spirit board. If you all are interested in purchasing a spirit board or getting one made for yourself, you can contact me, or specifically you can contact the person that made these for me. Her name is Letty. She carves things out of wood. So I'm going to be using this board to pretty much answer the rest of these questions. Okay, so I need to get my tarot deck. 1 second. Okay, so some of the questions that we're going to ask about Safaree are, does he still love Nicki Minaj? Is he desperate for love? And why is he dating Erica Mena? Okay, so the first question that we're asking is, does Safaree still love Nicki Minaj? In the House of Greatest Challenges is the card for defeat, meaning that he feels like things with him and Nicki are totally over, and that there's nothing that he can do to revive or rekindle the relationship. He feels that she's turned her back on the situation, and as though she's moved forward. But even if he still has feelings attached to it, he feels like no matter how much energy and effort he puts into it, things are never going to go the way that he would want them to, even if that's having just a friendship with her. In his house of personal truths and personal answers, he knows that he again, with him appearing as the magician in this particular house, he feels that he has the ability to create whatever reality he wants. It would just be really difficult for him to do, and it would exhaust him. He feels that, and I'm hearing this, he feels like it would take him about 1 year of hard work to get Nicki Minaj to consider dealing with him in that way again, just to get her to want to date him. What needs to be organized intuitively for him is like, things are over. I get the death card. So he's like, this is not going to go the way that I want it to. I can't revive this situation. I need to move on from it and let it go. His back is turned towards it. So to answer my original question, is he still in love with Nicki Minaj? I wouldn't say that he's still in love, but he still has love for her. But his logic won't allow for him to open himself up to her in that way. In his house of hidden advantages, as far as Nicki Minaj, he mainly thinks about the amounts of money that they made together. So if he were to return to the relationship, it would be for business purposes. His best path to take, I get the card for cruelty. So he feels that if he did try to reapproach her, it would annoy him. He would constantly ask himself, is this what I really want to do? Am I making the right decision? Am I standing in the right place? Is this the right person? Why am I doing this? And if I'm only doing it for money, there are other people there. I can make my own money. The outcome of which, if he were to get back with Nicki Minaj, to get the card for strife. So obviously he, in terms of predictive behavior or the predictability of the situation, he knows that it's going to bring him a lot of stress. So overall, I don't see this as him still being in love with Nicki Minaj. I think that if anything, he will return to the situation for some sort of financial profit, and so that he could be back in the he could be further pushed into the public eye. So the next thing that we're going to ask is he desperate for love? So Safaree likes sex, okay? And he doesn't like sex with different people, but he just likes sex. And sex for him allows him to feel like he's wanted, desired, and he's really charming someone. And he tries not to move with his with his phallus and move more with his head, but he still ends up moving with his phallus because women are naturally attracted to him and curious about his sexual prowess. And he has this natural need to prove and to serve, so he's going to allow for himself to end up in the bedroom with these women. Again, the Princess of Wands comes up in his House of Personal Truth. So for him, he feels like he feels like he can't be alone, that he can't just be alone. He needs partnership, love, intimacy, stability. But he's more. I would definitely say one of his love languages is physical touch, and when he goes without it, he does it does affect his self-esteem in a negative way. As far as what needs to be organized with him in love, and him being desperate for it, he needs to focus on his money and focus on making sure that he has stability, because I see that his money is always up and down, and he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have as much of it as he would like. He also doesn't like that his money's connected to media platforms, and he would rather have it come through other passive sources. Nevertheless, because he's so easygoing about it, what he does with his money is just as easy as it comes in, it goes out. As easy as it comes in, it goes out. And so he would, again, be motivated to enter into a relationship for the purposes of financial gain. His hidden advantages, he's very stubborn. So he won't admit that he is, desperate to be in love and to feel loved by someone. He would relegate it to just having a natural human desire to be physically touched by someone. He chooses wealth. He should choose. The spirits are like, choose wealth, choose your money, go for the bag, really secure the bag and let go of love. Because if you got to, he needs to be at a certain, he needs to be more stable. He needs to have a very stable source of income that comes through, residual things, and is in his long-term wealth. And then he could find someone to really settle down with. The outcome, I got the ancestors card, but the ancestors card was in reverse. Nevertheless, I read polarity. I don't read ups and downs. I read polarity. So the polarity of this card is still positive, even if it appeared in a reverse direction. The polarity of this card for the ancestors is saying that, he needs to go within and to get close to himself and use more of his third eye than his phallus. He tries to use a lot of mentalism to trick himself into believing that he's not desperate for love. It doesn't work though. But if he could tap into his third eye energy, he could easily see. He could better reflect on himself, his behavior, and actually change from it. So yeah, he is desperate for love. The next thing that we're going to ask is, why is he dating Erica Mena? Okay. He's dating Erica Mena because she brings good fortune, and he's down on his luck. He feels like he's not as relevant as he needs to be, and he feels that he's fading into obscurity the longer that the more distance Nicki Minaj, in terms of years, the more distance she puts between him and their breakup, she puts between, her career and their breakup. He feels that he's fading into obscurity. So part of why he needs to be in the relationship with Erica Mena is so that the wheel of fortune can turn in his favor. He feels like Erica Mena is a go-getter, that she's, really feisty. He also feels like she's pretty smart, but he doesn't feel like she plans out things very well. So he feels like he can take advantage of the relationship and teach her, how to have career longevity. And he feels like he benefits from her, from teaching her as well. Like, he's like, I get some out of it, you get something out of it. This relationship is new for him. It's a new experience. He's never dealt with someone like her before, and he's more interested in the way her mind works, and he's trying to always rationalize her logic. He thinks of her as somewhat mature, but for the most part, he's like still figuring her out, kind of like, I'm gonna take things as I go. Like, when you show me something, I'll believe it. If you don't show me something, I'm not gonna be mad at it, but I am gonna put that, I am gonna store that particular memory and evaluate you from it in the future, but without judgment. So as far as his hidden advantages in the situation, he feels like this relationship with her, he feels like she's got a high moral value. He feels like, she's been misjudged, misunderstood, and that's what they bond about. He feels like his reputation is pretty positive, and he would like to help rework hers. And in the meantime, he knows that it's going to continue people are going to continue paying attention to him in their relationship. And the relationship garners the interest of the public. Okay, so the best path for him to take, he feels that he has to stay in the relationship because it's going to bring him money, abundance, wealth, that he's going to have the world at his fingertips. And he feels like no matter what, they're gonna be together. He feels like this relationship is early, it's new, but he also feels like he doesn't feel like it was heaven sent, but he feels like he found someone that's really compatible to him, that has similar physical interests, and also someone that has similar career interests. He's sexually attracted to her, she's sexually attracted to him, vice versa, but he feels like it was inevitable for them to be together. And I get that they had been dealing with one another for a little minute before it became public. Okay, so now we're gonna reshuffle. Before we even need to reshuffle, we'll just go into another question. Okay, so another question that we have is, will Erica Mena and Safaree have kids and get married?
So fuel my fire, take me